Hello and welcome to another Dragon Storm Studios video. I sometimes tell time best through movies because I remember numbers fairly well. For example, Pirates of the Caribbean came out in 2003, which was now, let me check my notes here, 18 years ago. Yeah, this way of telling time often also makes me feel really old. Well, as of today, it was 28 years, 2 months, and 21 days ago that Jurassic Park was released into theaters. I just wanted to draw a dinosaur today. Jurassic Park was such a monumental movie, both at the time and also now in the future looking back based on the prevalence of computer-generated imagery that spawned from that movie. Although I thought the Dilophosaurus was really cool, the literal king of the show was the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And I'm going to draw her for you here today. We have begun with basic shapes as always, sketching out the pose and the expression, and we are simplifying when necessary. I have a vivid memory of walking to the local multiplex back on June 11th, 1993 with my friend Bobby to go watch this movie. I remember buying a popcorn that came with a giant white bucket that had embossed dinosaurs on it, and I loved that movie with all of my child's heart. When I was working on the decision-making process for this pose, I really wanted to have something dynamic as well. I wanted something which looked as if the dinosaur was coming at the viewer. Because too often when you look at pictures of dinosaurs, they end up being very static. They're posing epically in a roar, or they're standing around, not really all that exciting for a picture. So as the artist, you really want to make sure that you have a good idea of what you're doing before you start, so that your picture really sells what you're trying to create. So here I just wanted an image of the dinosaur coming at the viewer, looking very dynamic, looking very active. I think I've achieved that for the most part here. Again, still in sketch form, but we're making our way. One thing I have noticed as well is that dinosaurs, and let's face it, most often Tyrannosaurus rexes, tend to be used often as templates for other creations, especially if they're mythological or legendary, not necessarily of this earth, as it were. For example, I've seen pictures, even in professional art, for video games and card games, of dinosaurs being used to portray dragons and to portray other creatures such as Hydra. And it's really cool when you see that, because you can tell that the influence of dinosaurs is really quite strong to be able to have that influence even in other media, which is really cool. Alright, now we're going to move on to work on the shading and the shadows. This of course gives us a sense of depth and realism that really takes our drawing to that next level. And it's important to think about where the light's coming from. I'm working off a picture, obviously, but certainly I can adjust the picture and the shading as I see fit as an artist. And we'll see how this part here turns out. Alright, so when it comes to texture on our dinosaur here, there are two schools of thought. You could very easily create a whole bunch of little dots or other rough sorts of textures to create the look of the skin on our T-Rex. That is awfully time consuming though. So a trick that we showed off here on the channel, almost a year ago now with the Tappy Toe Claws video, is to do a rubbing. So I'm going to take some sandpaper, and this is another example of a kind of an artist trick, I guess. Don't throw things away because you might find a use for them. So this is sandpaper, which obviously has seen better days, but it's got this wonderful patchy sort of rough texture to it, and I can use that to do rubbing over the skin to create that skin-like effect on the T-Rex. I'm gonna have to add some touch-ups to it afterwards, but it gets a lot of the work done when it comes to fine details on the skin. And we can see examples here of it coming to pass, and it just creates this wonderful, kind of more realistic, complex texture on our creation. And again, when we add some more shadows and shading to over top of some of those areas to create a blended look, it will look magnificent when it's finished. So I'm going to take a little bit of time just to get some of that effect here and there on the skin, and we'll skip ahead in a second and see how that turns out. I received a comment a couple of days ago asking for me to take more time on some of the details. That is something which I am certainly trying to work on. I tend to work quickly, so I will take a bit more time here. Please do leave me comments. I do read those and I will respond to them and adjust the videos as necessary. So please keep that up. It was great. Thank you very much. So I'll take a bit more time, and we'll kind of sort of see that slow change. I'll do a bit of a couple of jump cuts here to make it look interesting. Jurassic Park was actually also my introduction to Jeff Goldblum. Now, I'd seen him before in The Fly, but I actually didn't know it was Jeff Goldblum in that film at the time. It was just that guy in that creepy movie. So this was the movie which really introduced me to him, and my goodness, I loved his character, Ian Malcolm. Like he had so much personality, maybe an overabundance of it, but it was so well done, and he was so likable. I can see why they brought him into the second one as kind of the main character. And it makes sense that he would go on to greater things. Like he was in Independence Day in 1996, I think it was, and that was really cool to see his career blossom. And then, of course, more recently in Thor Ragnarok, he was just phenomenal. I loved him in that. So at this point, I need to address the fact that I am drawing a Jurassic Park version of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. There's a lot of conjecture right now, and I'm not even sure 100%. I couldn't tell if it's definitive yet, but there's a lot of talk about whether dinosaurs had feathers, and there's back and forth on that. And I'll be honest with you, either way, it's fine with me. I'm not taking a side. I am going to suggest a point of view, an opinion on my part, that they look good without the feathers. I like how they look in Jurassic Park, but certainly if science definitively describes them as having feathers at some point, for sure, 100%, like proven, then all dinosaurs, that is, not just the one that they found in Austria a number of years ago. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of that one there, but just if you're a dinosaur purist who believes they have feathers, that's cool. I respect that, but I'm drawing the Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurus in all of her glory here. All right, our dinosaur is looking very menacing at this point. I'm liking how it's looking. We got some background going on at this point as well. I'm going to put up some posts with the kind of broken and twisted cables. We've got the car, the Jeep, I guess, that the main characters are in this scene. And he's looking pretty good, I think. I'm going to do some more touching up here and there, just some more shading and shadows, some details on the toes, etc. But it's looking pretty good so far. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Hope you found it helpful and interesting. Please feel free to try it out at home with your own favorite dinosaur, perhaps a Triceratops or Velociraptor. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to give it a like, share, subscribe to the channel if you think it deserves it. And thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.